Say what? Look.
It's the new OGs. The new OGs is a State and Madison Entertainment production that is brought to you by Solar Masters. Look, Illinois is changing how people get their electricity, and Solar Masters is helping homeowners in Illinois take advantage of a program that lets them get solar power at no cost. If you're a single-family homeowner in the state of Illinois, you can lower your electric bill, you can raise the value of your home, and you can do something good for the environment without paying a single dollar out of your pocket to do so. In fact, Solar Masters can only work with you if they can save you money. Solar Masters is a black-owned company and deals with North American panel makers with over 30 years of solar experience and the longest warranties in the industry. We even have a referral program that pays out as much as $750 per referral, so head over to www.go... Yes, sir.
Bobby.
Oh, look at this. Wow, a replacement. We have...
Do you mean to tell me?
Lou Gehrig happening right now. Wally Pip is out, and Lou Gehrig has stepped in.
Do you mean to tell me
Yes, sir.
that people
Yes, sir.
don't even have to have a house?
You don't even have to have a house. Nope.
And you can get some money for that too?
Yeah, if you can refer somebody who goes solar. If you know anybody with a house and they go solar because of your referral, you can get $500. You get $750.
So then if you have a house
If you have a house.
and you get solar energy
Yep, and you get to solar. Yep.
you help the earth and your great-grandbabies,
And your great-grandbabies.
and you pay cheaper?
Yeah, it's
Electric
less
bill?
expensive than what you're paying right now for ComEd.
Man,
and
that's-
everybody has problems with ComEd.
Who doesn't? Man, that's better than the weed we've been smoking, baby.
Well, listen, if you don't have the type of money to afford the weed that we're smoking, get over to www.gosolarmasters.com and get in contact for a
Shout
free
out
consultation.
Xavier Lamont.
Xavier Lamont loves shout-outs, and refer somebody that you know. We are also brought to you by People of Comedy. That is the network that we are on right now. James Webb on the boards doing masterful work back here. You guys have no idea how this dude controls. He is, you know Claw from fucking... I'll get you next time, Gadget. Next time. That is, just get over to People of Comedy on Facebook. Find them on Twitter and Instagram. Find the great shows they're doing. Find out what James Webb is doing. He is broadcasting from comedy clubs all across the country. It's a whole thing going on.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a whole thing. You need to get involved with this dude. He's got it happening right now. So
Get in on the ground floor.
what's going on? We got no Excel today.
No Excel.
No Excel.
Yeah, I didn't even get a chance to talk to him. He's been, he was dealing with something.
Life be happening, man.
Yeah.
Life be
Exactly.
No, he's physically and mentally okay. I think.
Yeah,
as
oh,
far
yeah,
as-
oh, yeah,
It's
yeah.
not that he just got some. He's got some external issues that he's got going on. That sometimes people have an issue and you're the only person who can help them out on a Friday, and that's how it is.
That's all.
So
Yep.
gratefully, one of the things that's really weird is we do this podcast at 2:00 in the afternoon on a Friday, which it's the closest thing to a radio style job I've ever. Everybody else is at work. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't know. Maybe if you're at work right now and you're like, God, how am I gonna get rid of these last couple hours before I get out this motherfucker? I gotta make it look like I'm doing something. I gotta collate this fucking folder or whatever the hell's going on. I gotta put this file together, whatever the shit.
We are here for you.
We are here, but it's nice. It is nice to be in a position where, although he's gonna miss the show today, that he is actually free to do that on a Friday, which is one of those weird things. You say we will not have a centrist. We will not have a centrist jumping in to stop our rants on capitalism today. So it's Ali Oxenfree. We letting it out, baby. We're gonna talk some mad shit.
The best that I can offer you is where the thought process came for said bullshit, but I'm not having any mercy on the bullshit.
Right. How great would it be to be in a position where if you had an emergency come up on a Friday, you could deal with it without repercussions from
I agree with you 100%. I mean that is the essence of what we all strive for, right?
Yeah.
To do what I know I have to give something to the society, but let me give it to you when I'm ready.
I've heard a weird OG thing going around lately that I just want to push back against. There's a lot of people that they don't. We're gonna get into talking about some of the political shit that's going down right now, as far as trying to get these bills passed and trying to get this money out of these people. And it's so odd. I get so frustrated because, the deal is shit, man. There's people that need shit yesterday, right? It's not like everything's going all chill and shit, and we need shit yesterday, and so people are so calm about the need for any action. It's crazy to me sometimes. And there's this OG thing where they're just it takes time. We got to figure out maybe we don't need. And it's like, isn't the whole point to make shit better? Everybody wants to complain about, well, why should we make college free? I had to pay off my debt. It's like, yeah, didn't you hate it? Didn't you fucking, of course, didn't you fucking.
Oh my God.
What do you, like, these are the same people that also think you should smack the fuck out of your kid if they get out of line, though, because they think that somehow, like, making it rougher makes it better. But it's like, when is it better? If you keep making it, if it's always rougher for the next group, when is it ever better? How do you actually move forward if it's always, if your kids got to walk uphill both ways, like you had to walk uphill both ways to go to school, like, what are they? That doesn't advance them at all. Didn't you walk all the times when they're fucking up? Aren't you like, I do all this to provide for you? For what? so that you could have the same tough time. I thought that was the whole. What? I want my kid. I want it to be a breeze.
Absolutely.
I want her to be healthy because that's the desire and that's the best benefit to get the most bang for the buck out of the time you have here. But I want to be able to chase the dream she wants, but still be able to afford to like live no matter what job she's got to take in the meantime. Right? Like that's not a crazy request, but it's one that is very difficult right now if you're trying to do it.
Well, here's the thing. First of all, it is an OG thing. Part of the problem with being an OG is that you can see where things could go south all the time. So it's a constant battle.
There's this belief that like if you didn't force people to work for money, that nobody would work at all.
Right.
And I think that is a false concept.
I'm not that I agree with everything you're saying,
right.
But I'm giving you the counterpoint
to
the point.
Sure, yeah.
And that counterpoint is America is what it is, and it's always been what it's been.
Right.
And we trying our best to make it change, but we're finding that the same shit just keeps happening.
Absolutely.
So at one point or another, we have to reassess how we do things.
Yes.
Which means what you're saying is 100% true. Okay, I know that there is only so much I'm going to get out of this path or out of this way of carrying myself. But you still want to be able to refer back to the bullshit should you need to.
Right. Exactly.
Now, so a part of the training is, yes, I want you to have life easy, but I want you to understand if things are not the same, you still got to have your wits about you to get through these situations when they fall apart.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, the only reason they would keep falling apart is because you keep teaching this knucklehead bullshit.
No, that's not.
You know what I mean? Like,
because externally, you can't control what's going on outside.
If you're teaching everybody the shit, there is no outside. Right? Like if you are training people if the shift on how we are trying to raise people would be that the goal is to make it better. And I don't mean just like in your house or in your neighborhood or in Illinois or in the United States. I mean, if we decided we wanted to feed everybody, we could feed everybody.
I agree.
Right? Like we're not at a shortage. We are not at a water shortage. We're at a water ownership shortage. Right? We're at an affordable water shortage. So like that, and yes, that is utopian thought process 1,000%, right? The idea that you could convince the world to like get on board with like, hey, we're gonna make sure everybody has food and a place to stay if they want to stay and some health care. Like we could do it. We can easily do it. Like there's a way it could be done. Yes, I understand that's utopian, but the idea of constantly drilling it, and it's one thing to teach your kid about consequences. I teach my kid consequences all the time. But that is different than trying to forcefully make it hard for them or trying to prevent them from having a thing that would lift them up.
I got to, again, the way that I see the world, and I may be seeing something different than what you're seeing.
Right. Or we may be splitting hairs on the same concept,
Right. Because I do want, I want my baby to have everything she wants.
Sure.
And I want my grandsons to not have to struggle at all.
Right.
So in my mind, the best way for me to make that happen is to try to make this system work for me and mine.
Sure.
And in doing that, I got to train them how to deal with the people that don't want them to do that.
Of course.
And so that's what I mean by that.
That's different than actually fighting against. That's different than fighting against 2 years of free community college, right?
Oh no, dude, please don't get me wrong. Oh my God,
that's what I'm saying.
Yes, you're
that's
right.
What I'm saying.
Dude.
There's a difference between teaching your kids about the bad, like the bad that's out there, and like trying to like deny the access
These
to a better
motherfuckers
world.
cannot give my black ass enough shit. Do not get it twisted. I'm saying, y'all saying it's free? No, bitches, I have given you my life.
Right.
So you better give me, yes, I want some shit.
Yeah.
I want to be a part of capitalism to the level that everybody else get to be based on how much sacrifice I've made for this motherfucker.
Right, yeah.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yes, that I agree with you 100%. But I'm saying the expectation therein.
It's just playing the middle is weird. It creates a lot of weird shit. One of the guys who really played the middle passed away this week, Colin Powell.
Yeah, oh my God.
84 years old.
Wow.
He played the middle, and, you know, as such, even in his death, you know, the way he died has now been a thing that has been, like, interwoven with this crazy thing because, of course, this guy had a couple of kinds of cancers, I think. He had...
Yes.
You know what I
he
mean?
did.
Like, he had a couple of kinds of cancers he was dealing with, and then there were COVID-19 complications. He'd gotten vaccinated, of course, but this guy's an 84-year-old dude who had shit, who, yes, then got exposed to this thing that can still, like, for the same people who are like, she got vaccinated, he still got COVID and died. Those are the same people that 6 months ago were telling you it wasn't real. Those are the same people that are like, the numbers are made up. But he still died from COVID. The thing I said was made up still killed them. What are you fucking talking about?
I'm going to say a saying.
Is it dangerous or not, motherfucker?
Let me give you this saying my father used to say all the time. He's 92.
Yeah.
He said, you always asking a wild bear for tame pussy. What in the world? Like, why would you
why
expect?
do our fathers see? That's the thing that's the thing you teach a kid, right? That's a saying that lives on. Like, that is not what I was talking about earlier. Like, yes, of course you teach them sayings like that.
But I'm saying, like, these people are not that bright.
Right.
So every argument they make has to be based on where they are right now.
Well, and you and I have come to this conclusion before, is at the end of the day, like, they are willing to shift what their stance is to continue to, like, to get their own thing, right? Like, there's a dude, you know, we'll talk about them. I want to talk about Colin Powell right now. And, you know, the difficulty with Colin Powell is this guy was very military-based dude. I mean, this is General Colin Powell, right? So, and was involved in, you know, the 9/11 shit and everything that happened thereafter, which, of course, he later openly said he regretted. And I'm sure he does, right? Like, I'm sure he does. I'm sure there's a lot of people that feel mighty bad about just going along. There's probably some people that left the previous administration that feel bad. There's people that left. People leave every administration feel like there's some shit that they wanted to do that didn't get done, or they went on with some shit that they didn't want to go on with. And I don't know the level of repentance that is required to fulfill repentance. And I don't know if he meets that standard, but it is a difficult thing for me to get to one, like, hey, I'm going to be a centrist about your death the way you were a centrist about life here, right?
Yes. Okay, this is a difficult situation.
Yes, because it's a black man who is in a position of power in America, in a well-respected position, and the things that you have to do as a black person to be able to get into a position of power make it very difficult. And I remember asking my dad a question about this a long time ago, because we were sitting down talking, but, you know, my dad was like, I don't know if your father's ever done this with you, but sitting down and revealing the truths of the world to me, right? Where he's
Man, my family never stopped.
like, listen,
Never
nigga, you know, this is after I'd already got caught trying to rob somebody and spent some time. So, like, it was like my dad was like, "Oh, let me
try to square this shit
let
away.
me just make sure we get this right," you know. And it was a big heart to heart because my dad had substance abuse problems, which he was coming clean to me about with at the time, and it was just built up this whole thing of like breaking down. In the course of like a short period of time, my dad and I went from an antagonistic relationship to a friendship, right? And you know, one of the things that it led me to is this question as I was understanding like how the system, right? Like the government, the economics, the whole thing. My dad was an economics major at University of Chicago, right? He was a degree from the University of Chicago. Black dude from Inglewood. Crazy. And so he's breaking down this whole deal, and I go, well, why couldn't somebody just like play the role? Like couldn't somebody just like, you know, shuffle a little bit and get into the spot of power where they could actually like be like, ha, surprise. You know, like when Obama was getting elected, it was like watch him pull up and pull up a cigar and bring NWA into the black. But like the thing is, and this is the difficulty, is like you have to say yes so many times to things that you don't want to say yes to, that by the time you get to the place where you actually have power, you're part of the machine at that point, right? Like to get into the Borg and then destroy the Borg, you have to become the Borg. But once you become the Borg, how do you know you're you anymore?
Right. It is altogether like that is the exact energy in all of it. Like from law enforcement to the military to the government, it is all based on a degree of violence.
And it's difficult because you know when you talk about, hey, we should affect change. Well, what's a great way to affect change? Well, in the political sphere, right? So what do? You got to run for an office. Well, you know, I talked about trying to market on social media right now. It's so hard to tell a good company from a bad company because the algorithm requires you to do a thing a certain way. So whether you're good or bad, all the ads look the same. Right. And it's the same thing with politicians a lot of times where it's just like, you know, there's a lady in Arizona right now who ran on a bunch of shit.
That ain't doing a damn thing. See, this the problem. Here's the issue. The first thing is, again, wild, bad, tame pussy. This thing ain't never been set up for us to do anything.
So that's the thing. So that's the issue, right? It's how do you do it?
So dig. So when you caught in the middle, because it's a bunch of us caught in the middle, right? A bunch of us when I say the middle, I mean who are thinkers, who are not disassociated from where we're from, who are trying to do all we can to bring people up. But in doing that, you still got to sell parts of yourself to the system.
I think here's where the problem is. And this is a problem that I think is unique to the left of the center in this country. Is that because this is not a problem on the right. Marjorie Taylor Greene has got Instagram videos. She's doing fucking workout of the days. This bitch is CrossFitting in the goddamn gym, yelling fucking Joe Biden lost while this bitch is snatching up 150, right? Yelling Joe Biden lost, and nobody gives a fuck. Nobody's called for her head. There's no groups on that side. No one on the right is like, this bitch needs to calm down. Nobody has said Matt Gaetz has to go away on the right. This dude has been paying for, kids and shit to either live in his house or to play with him or whatever the fuck. And, here's the thing is, and this is the issue, is that the difficulty, and we've talked about this before too, is that the difficulty when you are trying to be on the side of what you are feeling is actually right is an unwillingness to go balls to people think that AOC is very open about how she feels about things, but even she is reined in on really, and the concern is because the left is such a big tent of different disparate groups. You see it now. I wouldn't call Dave. We're going to talk about this later. This is the main focus of this show today. Is I wouldn't call Dave Chappelle a right-wing comic, but he is very much at odds with a lot of people who probably agree with him politically on nearly everything else on the planet. Right? And there's this fear that you will not be able to ascend politically if you don't just go out and be like, look, yeah, defund. Defund means less money for these motherfuckers until they act right. Here are all the stats. I don't give a fuck. And where's the guy who's going to come say that on the left? And then you will that thing, you need to see how the left needs to see somebody who will come out and just not give a fuck about telling people what the deal is and just see how that goes. See who he rallies, right? Hey, and it's got to be somebody who's all inclusive, but also doesn't mind telling people who don't get down with that to go fuck themselves.
So
if you don't believe a trans woman is a woman, then you don't understand humanity. Peace, fuck yourself, and just move on. And that should be I need to hear a politician who is that gaudy and that body on the left, and just be like, yeah, I'm running on that. Because you need to hear it.
Okay. Here's the reason why that's not going to happen.
I know why it's not going to happen.
Well, yeah, that's true. I know you know this, but it's our job to explain.
I'm just telling you what I want. I'm just telling you what I want.
Right.
I'm just telling you what will get me to show and be like, oh, I'm knocking doors for whomever that is. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care your gender. I don't care. If you're talking the dope shit and you are unblemished in it and you are just letting it out, that is what gets my attention right now.
Got that. The issue is that the only thing the right has to do is root for white folks.
Right.
They only got to root for white folks. So if you rooting for white folks, you can say whatever you want to say. Right. Yeah, there was no such thing as slavery. Let's stop talking about the Holocaust. All this shit is bullshit. Let us move on as Americans.
Right. Yeah.
You can say all that shit when the only person you have to defend is a white dude.
Right.
So that white dude could rape, rob, murder, whatever. You always find out, oh, they're just coming after him. No, none of you bitches are any good. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But when you say that, then you're the racist. You don't like
but
this.
Yeah, you got to start.
This,
you got to start
against that.
I think it's worth making that the discussion, though, because here's the thing: is when you have what you believe to be the facts on your side. Like I got into an argument with I was on a friend of mine who was on Facebook who owns a business talked about the violence on the north side of the city. And I said, well, it's amazing how people now suddenly care about this now that it's in the white neighborhoods. And that set off a firestorm because you can't run a restaurant in the city without having cops who are friends of yours on Facebook. It's just the way that's going to go. And, of course, cops saw that I had said that. And, of course, and my point wasn't to him.
You can't even tell the goddamn truth.
He got defensive because he was like, I care about any life that gets lost. And I'm like, I know you. I know that you do. But this is now all these people want to have stuff to say about you. Post this up because you're concerned because one of your guys got shot, and I know the cat who got shot. I know a couple of cats who've been shot who are bouncers, who've been shot by random gunfire, and that is fucked up. But they've been killing black people. Been getting killed in this city. Joe Kilgallen posted earlier today. Kilgallen's Pub is on this network. You should check it out, by the way. Shout out to Joe Kilgallen.
Joe Kilgallen. Love shout outs. I love that
But
dude.
he posted earlier today, he goes, wow, this murder rate is crazy. There's 700 people who've been killed so far this year compared to when I was a kid in 1991 where it was 921. You know what I mean? Like,
that's the thing about Kilgallen. I love that dude because he is angry. But he is equally angry about everything.
But the point is like 700 homicides this year, 930 this time in 1991, and everybody's like the homicide rates are out of control compared to when they were just killing niggas.
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly.
right. And so I got into it with a cop, and we started getting into some issues because I suggested the first thing that needs to happen is the head of the police union needs to resign.
Get the fuck out of here.
And he wanted to get mad about that. And then I just started dropping bombs on all the police union heads and their line of racism. And then I dropped the Home and Square shit, which was the torture house that they held in Chicago where they were just torturing fucking people in the confessions, which they are now complaining about somebody who's letting people out of jail who were most likely tortured for their fucking confessions, right?
My God, dude, they hate that lady.
But that dude blocked me. And that was what my point is that these guys at some point want to take it to a point and then they just don't, they're out. But that's the thing, like you got to force that. And they're trying to block more, right? Steve Bannon was subpoenaed by the January 6th committee for his role in that whole deal. He was not an employee of the Trump administration at that point. He wanted to claim executive privilege.
The rules don't matter for him.
Apparently, he's trying to avoid them. They are now there have been charges filed. He's in criminal contempt.
So, Bobby, real quick question.
Yes, sir.
Before you finish,
they're not going to arrest him. I don't think.
They probably will.
Yeah,
but it ain't gonna mean shit. He's gonna be back out the next
they have arrested.
day.
Right? Remember it was a big deal when they went after Roger Stone. I was like, oh, they swarmed his house. This nigga's doing rap videos.
So exactly.
This is a real. This nigga looks like the real live Penguin. He's out here doing rap videos.
And guess what? The rapper he doing it for gonna probably make a little money. You know what I'm saying? Gonna probably make a little money.
Oh yeah.
So that's
there's
what I'm
like
about,
seven
man.
There's like 7 rappers in the conservative community.
And so and all of them are millionaires.
They're all ex-military. They're all millionaires. They're all sold out because they know VA benefits were not kicking it for them. That is what they did it for.
And so all I'm saying is, but wait a minute. The thing that you said was about him going to jail, about him being, whatever they're gonna do.
Criminal contempt.
Eventually they're gonna do something to him, but he's gonna be so old that it ain't gonna matter.
Yeah,
and the damage that he's done is already done what he needed it to do.
Right. Yeah.
So they don't care. And the other thing is they are still old white men.
This dude on the 5th of January was like, it's gonna be wild tomorrow. Buckle up. It's not gonna be what you thought it was. Like, what?
He's saying, oh, we're going to invade tomorrow without saying, hey, we're going to invade this bitch tomorrow. All you got to do is don't say exactly that. And then you can say that if somebody catch it on the cell phone.
Yeah.
Because don't nobody give a damn what you say in private.
No. And you're absolutely right because when you really get down to it, so he's being held in contempt, whatever the fuck that's going to be. I've already listened to Schiff, who's like, whether you like him or not, he's not a fucking, he knows shit.
He does know what
he knows his shit. If he tells you like, hey man, we could do this, but then all these fucking other things are going to happen. And he said like, we can put him in contempt of court and then it's going to be this whole back and forth thing. And like the real issue here is they are trying to draw this out. They want this drawn out as long as possible because if they can get to the midterms and retake the House and the Senate, they can be like, oh, this shit is over.
Yes.
There's no punishments. This is over. Nothing. You're fucked. Nobody gets in trouble. They'll never get. Now, the little rioter motherfuckers, if you owned a little farm in Pawtucket or whatever and you went up there and you came up in there and shit on the wall, you're in jail.
Yes, that's my question.
You are fucked. If you ain't worth shit, if you don't have if you don't got real money to get your shit down to misdemeanor, if you just walked in and walked out, you're like, yeah, I got caught on camera, nobody saw me do shit, I'm good. You may get a misdemeanor, some fine shit. I think that's what's happening to most people, maybe 30 days or something like that.
Almost all of them.
But but the thing is, like, there is no penance for them. But this dude, right, the Steve Bannon motherfucker, this dude's never gonna see any real serious issue.
I don't know, man. The problem is he done pissed off just the right white folks. So now this is a battle between
depends on how quick they can get it done.
Right.
That's what I'm saying is they're trying to stall this out. If they can't get him done by then.
Dig this. There are things that they're trying to do to cut all this off, like this whole thing about voting rights.
Right.
They want you to get up there and vote so they can keep putting them in so they can get a little time in to run the stuff they want to run. But Dig, outside of all of that, despite all of that, when was the last time you went in any building, my friend, and smeared shit on the walls and then got to go home?
I'm going to tell you, I have never smeared shit on a wall of a building.
Well, yeah, so there's that. Yeah.
But had I done it, I would not expect to go home.
These people smear shit on the walls and then they get 30 days in jail?
Wait, they didn't just smear shit on a wall, right? It wasn't like Jim's wall. Yeah. This was the goddamn Capitol building. It was a It wasn't like it's not like if I would expect 30 days if you came to my crib and smeared shit on my wall and they sent you 30 days. You're like, that seems like a reasonable amount for smearing shit on my personal wall. But they were in the Capitol building.
If you go to anybody's house in the city of Chicago that has a firearm and smear shit on their wall, you're not gonna make it to jail.
If you made them, so what is it? Is it like 90 days if they'd have made a senator eat some shit? Like, what's the fucking? I just want to know if there's a chart. If we're working on a graph now, we're setting precedent.
I'm just saying, and then most of them people ain't gonna even get that.
Here's the wild thing: is that some of the Capitol rioters who are in jail have something now called the Patriot Wing, and they started their own rituals, and they have a growing fan base. Because the dumbest thing you can do when you get a bunch of fucking cult people and finally put them in jail is to put them in the same fucking wing of the jail. Why would you put these people all together?
Because they can't be amongst the niggas that we got locked up.
But I mean, can't they though?
No, this is America, for Christ's sake. How long are we gonna do this dance? We can tell ourselves, well, this is the rule.
Yes, I am constantly saying what I would like to see, just because I have caviar dreams
to be
Burger
treated
King
as
wallet.
An equal,
you know what I mean?
To be treated as an equal is caviar dreams. That's the point. Yes, that's exactly. We are struggling with the same thing from different sides.
I'm just trying to get to flat. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, why is my treadmill got to be at an incline when you run at a flat pace?
Or even at a decline sometimes.
These guys are in the Patriot Wing of a D.C. correctional facility. They sing the Star Spangled Banner every night. They do. There's a website that has who the fuck is putting this and has a recording of it? About 40 dudes. They got 40 dudes all together, coordinated the whole thing. This is probably not going to turn out well. Do you think these guys are going to be better when they get out, or are they going to learn a lesson?
Hell no. You ain't giving them the punishment you would give us. You don't even give them the punishment you give. Like, none of it is equal.
Yeah.
None of it is equal.
Very unequal thing. Donald Trump is starting his own fucking social media network.
For the third time?
This one is this is going to be called Truth Social.
Oh my God. So what happened to it was something called Truff or
there was Getter, which wasn't
Getter.
It's gone already. That was started by Jason Miller. It's already gone. This one's going to be called Truth Social. Truth Social, where you're going to be, instead of tweeting, you're going to be putting out truths, and then you can re-truth somebody.
You lost.
That's so true. I'm going to true it again. But here's the crazy thing about it is that there's already a social network code base called Mastodon, and this thing is already built on that. The thing has already been hacked. It's already there. It's not supposed to come out till next year. There's already a side way that you can get accounts on there. So it's already, it's already bullshit. Like, it's the thing is that these guys, there's no inventiveness over here. There's no that's my thing with him is there's no creativity, whether it's water or steaks or the airlines that he bought. All that shit has been this is the thing. Why would anybody think this would work? Nothing he's ever done is the only thing he's ever done has been him. Just him. There's nothing he's ever made that's worked.
White,
the seminars he sells. That's about the only thing.
Male who has money.
Yeah.
In America.
Yeah.
That's all you got to say.
Right.
That's it. This dude has never, ever created anything that made anyone's life better, including his children.
Right. Oh shit. Have you been ordering shit? Are you getting shit with no problem? Are prices going up for you? Or you feel like everybody's talking about the rising cost of everything? Are you dealing with it much?
Yes.
You're feeling it.
Yes, a whole bunch.
What's been your experience?
I just went and got grapes, and I paid I seen grapes in a little bitty bag that I used to get for $2, maybe $3 for $6.
Damn.
$6.
I have seen it most in, because I only eat like 5 things right now. I have seen it most in bacon prices.
Huh.
Yeah, bacon has been. It used to be you could get a decent package of bacon for like $5, $5.50, something like that. Now it's like $8, $9 for a package of bacon. Yeah, it's wild right now. It's the only. That's been the main thing. Gas has been $3.09 where I get gas. It went up to $3.19 for like a day or two last weekend, but it's been $3.09 for a minute. I don't really sense that deal. There's a big supply chain issue that they're trying to blame on Joe Biden. Like this nigga's 80. He's not. What do you think? He's supposed to pull them ships in himself? This nigga can't be.
Oh,
he's at the dock in the crane moving shit around. Joe with the aviators on. Joe's not out there doing that shit.
So pay no attention to the pandemic. It's his fault.
Yeah, so that's a crazy thing, right? Like we have this pandemic where everybody goes, "Oh shit, we're not buying shit." There's a bunch of shit we stopped buying because pandemic means you can't go nowhere, ain't no driving. There's a bunch of shit we stopped buying. There's a bunch of people who can't go to work in places because not the first time when the Fukushima plant shit happened. There's a bunch of factories around there. We fell behind shit then too. This shit happens, the pandemic happens, then people do start buying shit. We start getting a little dough. Everybody gets the little pandemic payments, and you can't buy your T-Rex if you don't get your pandemic.
Yeah.
And the T-Rex can't they can't make the T-Rexes because they're waiting on a chip. But I will say that everybody got T-Rexes now. The pandemic got everybody a T-Rex, goddamn it. If you want a 3-wheel motorcycle, $1,400 was all you was missing. But anyway, but now everybody wants shit, right? We working at home now. Everybody wants to buy shit. I looked at drop shipping and what type of shit was going on, and it's like all the work at home type shit became a big deal. Well, getting those fucking containers cost more money now. $5,000 containers, $20,000 now.
Oh.
To get a container of shit here. So like, what are they gonna? These people don't run businesses that have the type of money to absorb the cost, right? So they pass that shit on. That is nobody's fault. That is had the pandemic been better managed by the planet and the people running it, it could have been we could have limited it. Had everyone again the utopian thought process of, hey, if we just if
we just stored more shit than we need for a little while.
There's one thing, right? The manufacturing process that we have is built on this concept called lean manufacturing, which is in all these industries, we only build up as much as market is shown demand will be. So sometimes we end up with a little abundance because maybe there's a downturn in an area, a tragedy happens somewhere where people, and sometimes, most of the time, we short. And it's good if we short because then people will pay whatever the fuck for some shit, right?
Absolutely. You cannot let.
But the problem is when you need things like personal protective equipment, hospital beds for ICUs, right?
Yep.
And you work on lean manufacturing, then when you have something like, I don't know, a pandemic, which is just a thing that can fucking happen
that
sometimes.
You knew would happen years ago.
Right.
Remember when the black guy was in office?
Happening a long time ago.
He made a plan for
or at
this.
least, yes, he did. He had a plan that they threw out.
Not saying I'm the biggest Obama fan, but he did
have
what
a plan
he was
for this.
Required to do in his office.
With knowledge that this was potentially happening.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So now we got this thing that they're trying to blame, but the reality is like, yeah, man, this is just it sucks. Some prices on some shit is higher than it normally would be. I fully expect this to last only as long as until the shit gets straightened out.
Absolutely.
It might take a couple years.
Months.
It might be tough. That's just why you need to pass some of these bills that are going on, though. That's the whole point. If you pass these bills and everybody knew that, like, pre-K and whatever was going to be taken care of and they go to college and all that shit and, some of these bills are going to be squared away, then when a pandemic hit, you wouldn't be at this place of lack.
Right. And now people been sitting home long enough to say, fuck y'all, I'll do my own thing.
Right.
You dig?
Yeah.
Fuck y'all, I will do my own thing.
Yeah, and we need to have time for the market to adjust that. It should be okay that the market does adjust to that. It shouldn't be so reliant on, like, Yeah, sometimes your shit's gonna fall apart.
It's just sometimes
it's gonna
you
shift,
man.
and that's gonna. But like, if everybody had a version of a safety net, it would be okay. You could.
But then, in order to do that, you would have to not be so greedy to have enough money to go all the way to the goddamn moon.
Well, the reality is that there are people who are in high levels of power whose goal is to make sure nothing changes.
Absolutely.
That's the.
You know who those people are, and no one's going to want to hear this. Are. They are crackers. Now, dig. Let me.
By happenstance,
please,
right?
Please allow me to explain to everyone out there in the listen verse. Dig. When slavery happened, there were people whose their job was to beat people to continue to keep the pace the same.
Right.
Those people cracked the whip.
Yes.
Those were crackers.
Yes.
Sometimes those crackers would be black.
There is an occasion.
Right. But so
I can name a few of them right now.
So when yeah, and we still have them now. Some would say, I ain't going to. I ain't going. You know what I'm thinking.
I know.
Anybody who thinking
I
know
got
what
some
I'm thinking.
ideas.
Yes. So dig. So now with those people having that title at the time, who do you think gave them that title?
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? You ain't gonna never call a white dude nothing he don't want to be called when he running everything.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So now when you say it now, right? So when you say it now, you are the racist.
Right.
So the truth cannot be told, and since the truth can't be told, it's really hard to even have the discussion.
Right. Yeah. It's a. That is the thing. If we're not willing to address those things, we're not going to get to where we're going.
Never.
And that is, that is the third thing that people are really missing, is that there is a right-wing conservative party that is entirely built on white supremacy. There is a left side of the party that is built on trying to create a more socially based concept, to some degree, varying degrees of that. And then there is a finance class that is literally just about trying to maintain their wealth and make sure nothing changes.
Absolutely.
Have you gotten your booster yet?
Yes, I got my booster over a month and a half ago. As soon as they said people with compromised immune systems.
Right.
And I knew I was coming back to Chicago.
Yeah.
And I know how my Chicagoans get down. The police done told y'all, fuck you, we ain't wearing a mask.
They're not even going to tell you whether they're vaccinated. They're like, we're not even going to tell our boss whether we are risking anybody or not.
Now, how is this acceptable
There's
behavior?
more of us dying from this than anything else in the last 2 years. Y'all want to we want to be all up in arms and turn our back on the mayor at the hospital when a police officer gets killed because they're not holding up their end of the bargain. And then we are going to have more of us die from COVID in the last 2 years than anything else, but we're not going to do our part. Right.
Those are the crackers.
Right.
You don't have to do shit that you don't want to do when you are the one cracking the whip. They are dealing with the part of society that no one else wants to deal with.
Yeah. I like how the FDA has now okayed Moderna and Johnson & Johnson boosters, and they were just like, get fucking anything.
Just get a shot, bitch.
We don't give a fuck, man. Like, whatever. You had Pfizer? We don't care. Johnson & Johnson, like, you want to roll the dice? You want to, like, they should play that shit like a shell game and just be like, you pick one of these and that's the one you get. It's make it fun, give them a little prize.
Hey, man, I just want to go back to this just for 1 second. Just 1 second.
Yeah.
The people that are in charge of giving me a ticket when I turn right on red don't have to be vaccinated.
They're fighting against the idea of even having to tell whether they are, to determine whether they should have to test every week or not.
So you are the person that's supposed to enforce the rules that don't want to fucking follow the rules.
Correct.
And because you got a pistol, we just supposed to let it go?
Correct. That's what they expect.
That's it. That's all I just want.
We had some success here in Chicago in the sports world last week.
I seen.
The Chicago Sky are the WNBA champs, the first title ever in WNBA history for Chicago. First title in Chicago for a basketball team in 24 years.
Yes.
The 98 Bulls were the last team to get there. I have been a WNBA fan for a while. I enjoy watching the sport. I don't mind that there's like very few dunks. That's not. I love dunks. That's great. I got a sport I can watch, but I want to watch that.
Right.
I'll go watch these giant ass niggas run around and dunk the ball. That's great. That's all I need. I would rather see the people who can dunk the ball really well do it than see a bunch of people who could barely do it, constantly be trying to do it and not do it. Right? Like, no. What I like about watching women's basketball is how good they play because they don't dunk all the time. right? Like how good. Like there's a chick on this team named Courtney Vandersloot, and she's married to another lady on the team, which I think is just like that alone. I'm just like, all right, well, how would I not watch this? This is almost like a TV show now, right? Like how is this not a television show about this married basketball players on the same team? Anyway, she's just dope, man. She got the ball on a yo-yo. Courtney Vandersloot, she's crazy sick with it. Like, crazy assists. She leads the league in assists for years, crushing it. Candace Parker, who's from Naperville, came home and won a title for the hometown squad. They had the parade going. They brought Diana Taurasi, who plays for the Phoenix Mercury. She was so upset after the game that she broke a door in the locker room. They brought the fucking door to the parade.
Wow, that is great asshole.
Bitches is petty. I'm just
that is great asshole thinkery.
These are petty too, but it's great. I love the energy.
What I would like to see is their groupies go up in whichever direction that they need them to go up.
Yeah.
We need to support these women. Like,
yeah. And you know, there were some shots taken because there are a couple pictures of the tour parade where the crowd was a little thin in some areas. But also, for one, the parade was like a Tuesday morning, which, yes, I know people would jump out of their fucking shit for whatever other team. But one, this is a team that is like, there are reasons why the fan base is where it is at this point. And to act like you should expect the same turnout for, say, a Bulls organization that's been around for 60 years, or a Bears organization that's been around for 110 years, or a White Sox or Cubs organization that's been around for 130 years, to think that this 15-year-old organization should get the same turnaround and then be mocked, outside of the fact that it's in a sport that is fighting for its own position of recognition. Like, yeah, motherfucker, it's not going to be as big.
Well, ultimately, I think the
like
problem,
surprise, 4 million people didn't show up. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, like, yeah, but like but there was a good group of people out there still. So who gives a fuck? Like,
right, enjoy what it is.
Did they sell out the stadium at the end? Yep, you could. I was gonna buy tickets to the last game. The motherfucker sold out. So what the fuck else? What do you want? They sold out the motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, who cares who showed up to the parade?
Right. I can get that, but I'm saying, like, if this is the experience for you, and I don't know who made the complaint.
Right.
But I will say this.
It was somebody who always is on bullshit, of course.
Okay, well, then,
it's bullshit,
but I will say this. The only reason it ain't hotter than it's supposed to be is because it ain't getting the support it's supposed to get.
That's what I'm saying. It's brother league. The NBA is back this week. I'm excited. The Bulls are 1-0. They put together a win in a game that they probably would have lost any time in the last 5 years. They probably would have lost. But the NBA also announced this, and this is one of the reasons why I love the NBA so much. They extend support across all 107 historically black colleges and universities to advance opportunities. They're going to play an HBCU Classic in Cleveland as part of the 75th anniversary celebration. They've created a new fellowship program for career development. They've got this Classic that's going to raise money for a bunch of different programs, and then additional programming throughout the G League, Basketball Africa. They're going to expand their targeted referee development strategy to keep working in that route. They're going to be more involved in the NBA 2K League to find more, kids in those areas that want to be involved that way. Special alternate game telecast this season with an interactive comments on League Pass that work with HBCU schools to provide special experiences around select games. So, like, a bunch of things that are investments in the ways that they can, right?
Now it is our time to develop in a way that we don't have to work for people no more.
Right.
That's it. That's all I'm saying.
I
think this is awesome. I think that it's given attention in a place that has never had it.
Right.
And so now we get to watch it grow behind it. And that this is a starting point. These are seeds that are being planted.
Yeah, I think the core way to get to a point where we are close enough as people where they're, because everybody's like, why, people that don't understand the history of racism or don't want to deny whatever the words that you want to use for it are, use the cover up as, I don't understand why we got to have black colleges and black universities and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, but like the way that you get to a point where maybe someday you can get to a point where we are so well integrated that we go, everybody just goes wherever. There is no anything. There's been so much history of we've gotten to, like, the only way you get there is if you start creating something that's good enough that the people that you enlarge the availability for people, right? Like, the more you create an equitable situation, the more real your results are going to be.
I can think, the only way that I can think of it is the way that I see it. you're speaking it from an organizational
Yeah.
position, and that's your thought
Sure.
process. I'm saying how I seen it affect me is the only way I can tell you how it
Sure.
works. And for me to be around people who I know don't mean me no harm and give me the opportunity to think, that puts me in a space where I can create more and I can be more useful to the people around me.
Right.
And a historical black university, they are teaching you how to be. Let me tell you something, man. I went to CVS. I went to Chicago Vocational High School, and just the other day, I did a live, and I was talking to somebody about this dude named Larry Lynn. Larry Lynn was my history teacher. These cats were teaching you how to negotiate in a situation that you didn't even know you needed to negotiate in.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is like there is a world, and this is to your earliest point of the day, right? Is that although there is change that we want and are looking to get to, there is still a situation happening.
Yes, sir.
And you have to
Yes,
be
sir.
aware and ready for those situations as they happen.
Absolutely.
You can't
Yep.
just go out there being a fool, right?
Nope.
Like,
Yep.
you know, like my dad used to always tell me, bring a coat because it could be sunny one minute and snow high to a camel's ass the next, right? Like that was,
Exactly.
you got to be ready for whatever the fuck is
got
going to
to
go
be
on just because.
Yes.
Right now, why would there ever be snow near a camel? I don't know, but I just bought it. I never questioned it. I didn't know how tall a camel was as a kid. I just roll with it. But I was like, all right, bring a coat, whatever the fuck that means. But
Man.
what he was telling me was like, you still got to be prepared for shit. And there is a thing where if you're there's a lack of preparedness for some of the world that I got because my mom is white, and that's the growing up I got around. I had to learn a lot of
Right.
things firsthand and be embarrassed a lot in front of people blacker than me.
Right. That is
You know what I mean about what I didn't know or hadn't experienced or didn't know
Stuck
how
in
to
the middle
do.
again.
And
Stuck
that's
in the middle
that's
again.
not my mother's. That's not like a knock on my mom. It's just that if you have areas, and my mom did a great job of getting me around black people, though.
Yeah,
She was not
yeah.
trying to keep me away from anybody.
And it-
either.
and it
She was
is
like, no. I need you to get the shit I ain't got for you.
Your mother's amazing, dog. I'm saying, like, sitting in her presence, I'm like, God damn, this lady is brilliant.
And so, like, but the thing is like when you create more opportunity this way, those things that you normally wouldn't get coming up, because you can be a black kid and if all your teachers are white and you don't have any black influence on you outside of that, you can also miss some of these things that end up happening in the world where all of a sudden you are at a detrimental position with people around you and are unaware that you have done something that has put you in this place.
Absolutely.
Whistling at a white woman at the wrong time. You know what I mean? Like, these are the circumstances that have, and that's not to say that he wasn't, that's an Emmett Till reference. That doesn't say he wasn't around black people, but like the lack of awareness of what is around you and the dangers can sometimes only be taught to you by people who have gone through those dangers.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Speaking of somebody dealing with some stuff right now, are you found the Ben Simmons situation at all?
I am intrigued by his motive of operating.
Yeah.
I understand that this situation is crappy,
It is.
but
He
you are
made it
creating a
crappy.
lot of the crap. Yeah. A lot of this is your own fault. Now I know that some things these people done said and did about you was straight garbage.
Philly is tough, too.
But, yeah.
Philadelphia is a tough
They
ass
have
place.
a jail in their football stadium. So yes, it's horrible. It's horrible. Sometimes people can be extremely mean. When I went to Philly, I had a good time. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, it can
it's
be
a
fun.
great place to hang out.
If you can avoid getting into a fight, it is amazing.
Yes. And then-
But that's a big if. You know what I mean? Like,
you cannot go anywhere near the Philly hood.
I'm
of
not
any
trying to
type.
fight in Philadelphia. I fought in Chicago plenty. I'm definitely not trying to fight in
Ooh,
Philadelphia.
But I will say this, man. The guy's got to grow up a little bit.
Yeah,
gotta
there's some of
grow
that.
up a little
Well, there's this thing where, sometimes even when you're on a team and you're making big time money, there is some elements to being able to do things in public that create like the right thing, right? Like sometimes a coach will encourage you, say this thing because it'll get everybody sparked up and that's what you want. But behind the scenes, it's a different story. Sometimes though, there are times where you get caught out there speaking your mind a little too openly because you feel like you should be able to. And in essence, you should. But also, like, to think that there's not a repercussion from that affects your trade value in the future, who wants to work with you, all types of things start going into play. And does that suck to have to live your life in a world with that situation? Of course it does.
You're playing a team sport, bro.
But it's a volunteer army and it's a team sport.
Right.
And that's not to say that if someone is dealing with issues that makes it difficult for them to hold themselves back at that point, that there shouldn't be some thought given to that. But also, like, he was the one who wanted out. He was the one who didn't connect with anybody in the offseason. He seemed to be purposefully distant. Now, if somebody did something to him that comes out at some point or, like, bullied him in some way, then that's tough. That's a tough thing to deal with. But if it's just he wasn't happy with the type of press he's getting, that's bullshit.
At the end of the day, man, it's a team sport.
Yes.
You gotta take in consideration how your teammates feel. Think about the NBA, everybody can do everything. Or everybody can do the best of whatever the one thing they do.
Right.
So if everybody is all great, then what's going to be the difference between winning and losing?
Right.
The amount of cohesiveness with the team.
Now, on the flip side of that, he's claiming that he has that he's mentally not in a place to play right now, which in that sense, for that, the problems he caused when he came into practice and wouldn't participate in a drill and went home, I thought that was bullshit. Now, if he's coming in saying I got a mental issue, I don't put any questions on that because I'm like, that's between you and your doctor.
Absolutely.
Like, all right, go get some help then.
Right.
Hey, if you got an issue, we will understand that. We think this shit you did before was kind of fucked up. If it's related to this issue, then you should go get help. We'll catch you when you come back. 30 days, whatever you need. You know what I mean? Like, we'll get you the resources. We don't want to fuck with that. Maybe there's a different problem going on here that's not us at all.
Absolutely.
Maybe you realize that. And then you can kind of resolve yourself with that and hope the man gets some help. Speaking of somebody who needs some help, Washington State fired their football coach. This is the middle of college football season, so they're playing games right now.
That is not a good sign.
Washington is a state that is like up on mandates for things. They had a mandate for people who worked in things like their state universities in which you had to be vaccinated by a certain point in time. At one point, this dude said he was going to get vaccinated, and then he decided he wasn't going to. And because he did not get vaccinated, he has been fired for cause, along with a number of coaches around him.
There's the door.
He tried to get a religious exemption, which I don't know if...
Jesus said, I don't got to do this.
I don't know if dodo bird is a religion. I don't know. Freak the fuck out about needles. That's my religion. That's my...
What I don't. Where does this religious exemption? I guess because of some things that you're introducing into your body or something.
I think Seventh-day Adventist were the ones that didn't have to do those. I think Jehovah's Witnesses can. But like just saying that, like I would like a religious exemption. I don't know. It gets so frustrating for me as somebody who's agnostic that there is any leeway given to somebody over the chance that the thing they believe in might be legit. Like the benefit you get based off of the idea that the thing you might believe in might be real.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
I agree.
We do a bunch of shit for that, man. We got a whole season of that shit coming.
And then the shit that I believe doesn't match the shit that you believe. Now we got to fight. What?
I honestly believe that a war on Christmas is a perfect idea because Santa doesn't have any military. The elves ain't gonna stop shit. We can enslave them for like 200 years.
Hey man, all I want is a bright little tree in my living room.
That'd be so American to have a war on Christmas. Why wouldn't we do that?
Hey man, I don't buy into any of the shit, but I like the bright little tree in the living room.
Rolovich is out of a job, by the way. Also, LSU. This is just a side note. I don't have a note for this, but LSU is firing their coach, who just won a national championship for them like a couple years ago.
For the same shit?
No, apparently they found out after this dude won the championship, he started like bringing girlfriends to practice and shit. And just fucking
sit your ass down over there.
The team ain't been shit for like since they won the title. This dude won his first title and has just been balling out. He been balling out. He hit on this woman at a gas station who told him I'm pregnant and I'm married, and he was like, and the chick is married to one of the boosters for the university.
Oh. Yeah.
And when you do that shit, it's over for you, homie.
Yeah. Did you see, on a related note, have you seen the Rick James documentary?
I have not.
Yeah, check that out. Check that out. You can't piss on the desk and expect your check to come.
No. Another tough thing as we're moving into the weird and the entertaining shit. Alec Baldwin is filming a movie right now in New Mexico. He is down in New Mexico trying to film this movie. There's I think it's a Western that they're shooting down there. There are guns on that set. Even guns with blanks are live guns. Firing a blank is a live thing that gets fired. Prop guns can be very dangerous. They are usually handled almost entirely by the prop masters who are on set until they get there. He discharged a gun or it misfired. I'm not sure. Language is very tricky when you get into that because what happened with the gun, especially a prop gun, is a very sketchy thing because at some point there's probably going to be civil suit things you got to be concerned about.
Yes.
And so to keep me out of trouble, I'm going to say somehow a gun went off that Alec Baldwin was had
holding. Here's the thing. So you have to understand exactly what a bullet is.
Right.
Right? There is a projectile, there is propellant, and then there is something to spark the chemical reaction, some sort of igniter pad on every bullet. And what's supposed to be in a blank is something that is no projectile.
Right.
But you still got propellant in it to make the noise and give you
the pop.
So you really don't, at this point, in all honesty, you don't really need to have a gun that actually shoots anymore.
Right.
Because you could CGI.
CGI is everything.
Yes.
You can easily CGI now. There's no need for it.
But if you're going to do it, there should be somebody who, that's the only person that handles it until it gets ready.
Somehow the director of photography, Helena Hutchins, was hit and she was killed. Director Joel Souza was also struck. Obviously, they have halted production on this. It's a tough thing. It's probably not going to help the union situation they're dealing with right now. That's this is one of the things that's like very big. In regards to dealing with this, it's a tough thing to deal with. I think this is probably the last time you're going to see regular guns on sets.
And
anything that's live, I think they're going to get rid of and just figure out a way to do something around that. They've got to figure out a different way to do that than using.
When I saw it, you sent it to me. I think you sent it.
Yeah.
When I saw what you sent, I was thinking, my God, somebody has to go to jail over this accident.
Well, that's a difficult thing, right?
Yep. Because and if you're Alec Baldwin, I would imagine it would be horrible to have done that.
Yeah.
Right? And so now he got to finish this picture after
talking about going to therapy. This man probably needs to go. I mean, not that he shouldn't be going. This man's probably already got to be going to therapy for things.
Because he does have anger issues.
In some
you're
other,
a little less pissed off now, though.
In some other TV news, there's a show called Batwoman that's on CW. I've enjoyed the show. I thought it was awesome when they cast Ruby Rose at the beginning of it. I thought she was a perfect fit. And then, after the first season, they were talking about she wasn't coming back. And then they replaced her with this black chick who was also dope. And the second season was actually way better than the first season. And I was like, oh shit, this is so much better with this black chick being Batwoman. The storylines are better. It's way better. And the whole thing was after the first season, the whole thing was her saying she just wasn't up for the grind of this the 20 whatever episodes of being Batwoman. She had a neck injury at one point when she was on there filming. And then she recently came out and said that the set was shitty, that people were shitty on the set, everybody was fucked up, blah blah blah. And then the studio came out and was like, this bitch is a motherfucking liar. People came out and said this chick was toxic, she was a problem. And they got this cat who plays Luke Fox on the show, who plays Lucius Fox's son, he's now Batwing on the show. This dude went on Twitter and was like, yeah, she was fired. Homie went on Twitter and was like, all things be real. Yeah, they fired her.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you the real.
There's been a whole lot of back and forth going back what was going on. And the tweet that he actually said was, Bat fam, I couldn't let the whole day go without saying something. I love y'all. I don't think I haven't seen all the love today. But yeah, fam, she was fired. And he goes, and it is very hard to be fired when you're the lead. Imagine what you have to do for that to happen.
Hey, let me do the math for you dumbasses. Oh my goodness!
So from crew members to the people who run the network to the man who is still a co-star on the show,
to the dude that sold her cocaine and weed. Yeah, this bitch is hard to deal with.
She was an issue, dog. She was really thinking this is an ABC, motherfucker. This is a CW. This is not even HBO Max, bitch. This is get your life together.
Bitch, I'm Batwoman. Go in there and go in there and make sure my oatmeal is at least
147 degrees. Now, if it's 146 degrees,
somebody getting fired. Don't come back to
me. Pablo Escobar, I don't know if you know this. Pablo Escobar, who's been dead for a long time, but he used to own hippos.
Yes.
They call them his cocaine hippos. So the thing about them is that they weren't being sterilized, and so what were a few hippos became a bunch of fucking hippos. There's just a bunch of there were.
Wait a minute. Wait, let's go back just for a second.
There were 4 hippos at one point, right? He had a zoo. My man had a zoo. They seized the zoo. They left 4 hippos in Colombia.
Oh, my God.
4 hippos and now 120 hippos.
Wow. Now, talk about going viral.
Now, if you know anything about hippos,
I do not.
more people are killed by hippos than any other animal on the planet.
Shit.
Hippos do not fuck around.
They don't give a fuck. Now you got to find some place to take all these memes.
Yeah. So they were like, we're going to have to kill these fucking hippos. They're like, it's Colombia. We don't even have hippos here. Like, we just got 120 hippos just running around causing havoc, eating shit up, doing whatever the fuck. So an attorney filed a lawsuit on the hippos' behalf to save them, instead recommending sterilization. So they're just going to try and sterilize them out of existence, essentially. Wow. Give them a drug that'll sterilize them. So they've classified hippos as people so that they couldn't just murder off the hippos.
Wow.
And
I can't say that my life matters.
This has to be the best line anyone has ever written. All was well until the hippos started fucking. Jesus Christ.
Guys,
they're an invasive species because if they want to be somewhere, they're just going to eat you. If they don't, their jaws are so powerful that if they catch you in their jaw, they're huge. So if they run into you, you're fucked up.
And they're going to eat you afterwards?
They will just chomp you the fuck up, man. They don't even have to eat you. They'll just they'll break your back, kill you, and then move on.
So wait. Can we go back to the idea of cocaine hippo?
Yeah.
So we're now naming shit
based
after
off
the way that it was earned? So what we going to start calling Bank of America?
Slave cash. Come to Slave Cash. We have the lowest interest rates on holding your own fucking money.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna call it. Speaking of some wild animal human interactions, the first pig kidney transplant into a human patient has happened. It's the first time ever that's been done without triggering an immediate rejection. So it looks like they got a kidney from a pig. And then they put it in a person, and they
didn't give it to nobody to pickle or
no.
barbecue.
So here's why genetics is wild. They fucked with the genes of this pig, so that it didn't have the tissue that like created the rejection. Because before the problem was the kidney worked except for this one little tissue that made it rejected. So they just fucking made a pig that didn't have that tissue anymore.
That's interesting, man.
They just made one that didn't have it, and then just like, all right, cool. Well, now we got kidneys.
Wow.
Yeah, science is way better than like believing that Jesus is going to help you. I'm just going to tell you.
Well, I will say this though. I think that I would have preferred. Now I'm glad that we got that.
Right.
Just in case the one that they gave me that stop just conk out.
Yeah,
I can go
now
buy.
They just get you a little pig kidney.
Yeah, I can go
and
over
you're good to go.
I can go to Dominic's. You know what I'm saying? Plug one right here. But this is not. This is
like Teslas. They could just take the one battery out, throw a new battery in, just put you right back on the way.
Back out there. But I would have preferred they would have spent a little more time on fixing my own tissues to grow me another me that I could get parts off of. You know what I'm saying? I would think that would be the newer goal.
Well, I mean, it's a stepping stone, right? They got this one going because really what's happening is you got money and some science going into like turning pigs into kidney meat, right? That's all that's happening. It's like, are you bacon? No, I'm kidneys.
I'm making kidneys.
No, I'm here for kidneys. I'm here for bacon.
Well, I'm over here with eyeballs.
Right. So like that's going to be one, and so that'll end up being one of the industries, right? There'll be a company that just makes we do pig kidneys, and then there'll be another one that'll be like, yeah, we do tissue kidneys, and then one of them will be differently priced, and they'll just be how much money you got. That's what's happening. Like your insurance will pay for pig kidney, but it's not going to pay for like full genetic recreation kidney. It's not. That's what's going to be the future.
And both work fine. Both work fine.
Yeah. The last thing I want to kind of talk about because it is comedy related. The Dave Chappelle thing doesn't seem to be disappearing anytime soon.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a weird thing that I actually want to talk about that's not necessarily about that, but kind of relates to it. Because we could like whether I don't want to get into what he talked about or the fact that there has been a walkout or that thing, but there is an underlying conversation I see going on, especially like in the black community about something that I've noticed that the issue of what people are having with the special or loving it is. And that is this underlying statement or fear that there are other groups who are getting their equality first. And there are other groups who are, with way less of an oppression, are getting treated or getting favored before black people are getting favored. And that we have done so much and that we are now taking a back burner to that. That is a large part of the thing that I've kind of seen come out of this situation. And have you seen that? Have you kind of seen that in this? I mean, essentially, that's what Dave's point is in the special, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't have any problem with trans people. I just think it's fucked up that trans people are getting favored before me. So now I'm going to make fun of trans people instead of being mad at who I should be mad at.
Right.
Which is, if I recall correctly, like, freedom is not a thing that is given to you, right? It's a thing that you take.
Okay.
And so I think there's a large part of being black in America, we really do have to, like, look at ourselves and go, like, every time a Tim Scott steps out of line, we need to yank that motherfucker back over. Every time a Herschel Walker steps out of line, you need to yank that. We have these, we are so stuck on these false goals that are not about actually getting the thing we're looking for.
I think that is more of a focus on what you just said, of trying to find a way to make that happen.
Right.
But in order to make that happen, you got to be able to talk about it.
Sure.
And so if you let them talk all they want and give them you know what I'm saying? And I know that I'm
sure,
not saying
but some of those theys are also black people.
Right. I'm not discounting the intersectionality. I am not. But I'm saying that at one point or another, we have to find a way to focus it on ourselves.
Correct. But in the meantime, like, being okay with another marginalized group being shit on or taking part in the shitting on.
That is never my way. And that is part of the problem that I'm having now in my creativity.
Right.
Because there are certain people who I love working with that are constantly doing that.
Right.
And it slows my thought process down because now I'm focused on the dumb shit you just said.
Yeah.
But I also see the point of, wow, everybody is getting respect, and I can't even say my life.
But see,
matters.
I think that's a false thing to say.
I understand why.
Like the approach that I see, the approach I got out of this take that I see coming out is the idea that trans people are somehow exalted and well respected. It's okay to just hear me out. That it's okay to take a shot at them because they're on the good. Everybody loves trans people now. But the reality in the world is that is not actually the case. That is not actually the case. It is not necessarily safe to be trans in this country or in your neighborhood right now. It is not. You're not treated the same at jobs you apply for, at restaurants you go into. You risk all types of danger being openly trans out in public, of saying that you are, of standing up for yourself for being so. You know what I mean? And it's also not a zero-sum game.
Absolutely.
We can get, like, it is fucked up that black people are not getting the freedoms they should want. We should make it better
for everybody.
But, like, shouldn't, like, the focus needs to be on the actual people who you need to go after for the freedoms, right?
Right. I'm with all of that. But my problem is, and what I see is Dave's problem, is that when you call the government to step in, everything else falls away except for your skin. If it's a person that don't look like you, then all the other rules go back to normal. They don't hate them at the moment that they call the police on you. You see what I'm saying? They don't hate at the moment. And that's the problem that I ultimately have with all of this, is that every time it comes down when we hit the actual pavement, the nigga gonna hit the pavement harder than anyone else.
Yes,
Constantly.
but that is not trans people's fault.
I'm not saying it's
but I know you're not
particular
saying,
person's fault for calling the police on me.
I know you're not saying it's that person's fault, or you're not saying it's trans people's fault. But when that is what when that's what the premise of your special is, right?
I can only see the world from the way I see it.
I understand. That's why I'm trying to give you a different perspective.
Right. I understand. But dude, don't get me wrong, bro.
Right.
I'm with you.
Right.
And it's a lot of these old school guys that I love and hang around. We can get a lot of great advice from them. When I tell them, hey man, I don't really want to talk about that gay stuff because I hang around a lot of gay people and I don't want you to be in my presence, in my space when you ultimately will be, and you get to be around them.
Right.
Because I don't want you making nobody feel bad around.
Absolutely.
Me. So my interpersonal relationships are what they are. I'm just saying, like,
here's my thing: is like trans people aren't keeping black people from equality. That's not what's happening. I know you're not saying that, but I'm saying the general conversation that I'm seeing, that I'm saying is a mistaken take, is that somehow like black people, that somehow like trans people are getting the equality we should be getting, and that somehow trans people need to like slow it down or something. Like, that is not. We're all just trying to fight for some equality, including black trans people.
Absolutely.
Who make up a good portion of the trans community.
Absolutely. And you can't even
valid.
And it's a brilliant TV show about Chicago that we can't enjoy because one of the gangsters is in love with a trans woman.
Right.
And he act like he love her.
Right.
So this is an issue for all these other. And let me tell you the truth, man.
Because somehow that would make you.
I used to live next door to a pimp.
Right.
I don't care who's selling ass as long as there's ass being sold. You understand what I'm saying? This was what he told me.
Right.
So if either you a capitalist or you not. Now, if this trans woman gonna sell movie tickets, then put that trans woman in the movie.
Yeah, but there's a lot of this that's so based on this. There's an underlying part of this too, right, in the black community.
Or
right?
trans man, by the way.
Yeah, there's an underlying part of this in the black community, though, that is also tied to this very white Americanized version of what humanity and family should look like.
Absolutely.
That is not based on any of the nations of Africa in which we're from, because there is no history that they have with them from that. And this is entirely based on this idea of the patriarchal, God-fearing Christian family, or whatever. And I know Dave's Muslim or whatever, but like it's the same concept of a familial unit, right? These religious-based, patriarchal, but people just don't operate, and especially in capitalism, you're not going to get people that operate that way.
Nope.
Because
especially in a space where you've been taken away from where you're supposed to be.
Absolutely. So it's a weird thing. I would just I think that there's space to work together.
I agree.
There's space where to go, oh no, fuck powerful, fuck the powerful people who are keeping the shit from changing. Yeah, it sucks that we're not getting our shit and it's getting slower than you are. Why don't we team up and go fuck some people up?
Absolutely.
Instead of being like, fuck, why the fuck are you getting this before me?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yep. I just don't want, my thing is, when it's time to focus on me,
right.
Let's be focused on me.
I hear you on that. And speaking of focus on you, where are you going to be at this week, man? What you got going on?
Tomorrow we have 2 shows for the Leadership Academy out at High Point. It's 174 South High Point Drive in Romeoville. Come on out. We're going to be doing it. Bobby and I are on the show. It's going to be amazing.
The lineup is amazing. Erica Clark, Kristen Toomey, Xavier Lamont, yourself, me. It's going to be outstanding. It's for the Leadership Academy. It's a great fundraiser for a great group of kids that they're raising money for. Find the link in our bios. You can go to...
And Surf's Up is sponsoring us. Surf's Up
sponsored
number
by Surf's
4.
Up.
Surf's Up number 4.
Surf's Up number 4. It's like a Harold's Chicken type of a deal.
Absolutely.
Where can they find you, brother?
On Robert_L_Hines on all of social media.
You can find me at Mocha_Jesus. I'm going to be at that show tomorrow. I've got a show coming up on November 7th. If you're in Chicago, it is a weed-based show called Baked and Roasted. You want to get your tickets, go to the link in my bio for that. That'll be on there. Get to the show at New OG's Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Follow us. Like and subscribe to the show. If you had any fun on here today, get over to People of Comedy. Go check out all the stuff they've got going on over there. People of Comedy or People of Comedy Network on Twitter and Instagram. Or find them on Facebook or YouTube or Twitch. Watch all that great stuff. We'll be back here next week with another great show. We're out of here. That's what's up. Yeah. Shout out to XL.
XL loves
cheese. Can't find too many better than me. All about getting cheddar and D. Guala, mozzarella, parmesan cheese. Say you ballin', but not in my league. Say you ballin', but not in my league. Yeah. Whole lot of niggas changed since we came up. They could try to steal the moves, but they ain't us. Thank you, gang, but nigga.